Hello everybody and welcome back to Elfbait. This is Eli and going to continue the 30-day Dungeons & Dragons challenge with day 7. So day 7 is coming a little earlier than it should because, well, day 4 and 5 kind of got rolled into one because day 5, or actually 5 and 6, excuse me, lost count, days go on. 5 and 6 got blended into one because, well, 5 is kind of lame. It was favorite die. I should have substituted it in, but really, I thought it was worth kind of a comedic nod to it. So today's topic is your favorite edition. Well, I hate to sound like a broken record, a lot of this going around, but my favorite edition has got to be 5th edition. Now, a lot of other editions hold a lot of sentimentality and a lot of just warm, fuzzy feelings from the days of yore when I first started gaming. But 5th edition has to be my favorite edition on its own merit. 5th edition for me feels like it just brings together the best of all of the previous editions in terms of options and complexity versus simplicity, and just what seems to blend into this really functional, fun game to play. Now, I mean, certainly there are some critiques on 5th edition. I feel it's not as lethal as it could be, but that can come down to just good DMing. But as a game itself, it's a little too easy to live as a player character. But yes, so 5th edition, I mean, I love Advantage and how simple it is and how easy it is to just throw that out there. A player asks you if you can do something, and you can sit there and say yes, but you're going to do it at advantage or disadvantage. And it doesn't require a lot of book flipping on the run. The inclusion of a very specific set of conditions and breaking those down very simply put in one place is really easy. It allows monsters that have common effects to be quickly referenced. I mean, paralysis is paralysis, and fatigue is fatigue, poison is poison. You can get more detailed if you want with types of poisons and the like, but there are these quick, easy, really just on the fly accessible tools. Monsters in 5th edition have enough detail in them to still be interesting and unique without being the masses of math and calculation that they seem to be in 3.5. 5th edition does not feel so much like an advanced board game or tactical RPG, tactical game like 4th did. And of course, it continues with some of the traditions that 3rd started, which was the get rid of the retrograde armor class, which always confused new players. Trying to explain to somebody why their armor class goes down when it's a bonus is really a hard thing to wrap people's heads around. Now, because 5th edition has had the advantage of generations of refinement, of course it's lost some of the mystique and that kind of feeling that you got like with old AD&D. When you're playing AD&D and you got it, you really felt like you had understood something. There was like this arcane knowledge that was yours and shared with between you and other gamers who got it. 5th edition, of course, is easier to get than any other edition, with the exception of maybe the old BX sets, because those were pretty straightforward, although they still used the retroactive retrograde armor class system and stuff. But because they were condensed into races class, it made it there was a little less to get through. But 5th edition is still, I think, easier than that. Now, in being easier, it's not better in some things than some previous editions were. But it is better overall, in my opinion. I mean, absolutely dig being able to just sit down with 5th edition and play it out and never really get bogged down in a lot of rules. I even think the most rule-mongering, bogged-down stuff that we've ever gotten into with that is, looking up spell effects. And that's usually on my players, because my players, who are casting spells may not necessarily have, their spells memorized or haven't been doing their homework. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But, as a DM, when a monster has an ability, it's right there on the monster sheet. It's not referring me to another spell-like ability unless it's actually got a spell. And even a lot of times, if it's one spell that it uses, sometimes it just condenses that into being right there on the page. So it's really easy to work with. It's kind of hard to gush and say too much about a particular, topic like what is your favorite edition, because really, anything more is just a boring statistical analysis of what's going on. I'm not a stats guy. I'm not a statistician. I've never been that guy. I'm a creative guy. I'm an artsy guy. I'm a writing and story guy. But to that point, 5th edition lets me get in and do those stories I want really easy. It doesn't feel like I'm fighting the system to make my stories happen. And my players, I feel that they get that they're more able to do things that aren't necessarily expressly listed in the rules, because there are these conventions like advantage and disadvantage, which are easy to throw out. That's not to say that you can't throw in a situational modifier. I know that 5th edition doesn't really use it much, but you can, throwing a +1 in instead of an advantage is certainly certainly has merit, because advantage is a big thing. If you crunch the numbers for advantage, it's much greater than just a simple +1 or +2. So while +1 and +2 are a guaranteed thing, advantage really doubles your chances of getting any particular roll. So that's a quickie. It's short. I could leave it right there. What do I love about other editions? I guess this is a good place to talk about it, because, while this is my favorite version of the game, I have loved other editions. AD&D, when I found AD&D and finally broke out of BX and realized that race and class weren't tied together, and that I could have a human wizard, and I could have an elf who was a thief instead of being a fighter mage like they all were in BX. Those were the great times. That was the golden age of my D&D. I spent years, and if you count in 2nd edition, which is really just a revamped 1st edition, AD&D was the place for me where my heart is full, and lots of memorable stories. We were kids back then, so we did a lot of dumb stuff and a lot of stupid, goofy kid crap that your adult gamer self just cringes at. I think about the names we gave our characters and some of the things we had. We had a party. You've heard me mention them a couple times in other videos in this 30-day challenge. Shagon Icehawk. What the hell kind of a name is Shagon for an elf? But anyways, it was a name I gave him. One of the guys in our party had a fighter named Bogey. Bogey was this 9-foot tall human, and we just jokingly said that he had giant blood or something like that. But whatever the case being, we had goofy character names. We had stupid adventures. We built a wall around the Isle of Dread. I got in an arms race with my cousin with our conquered kingdoms, trying to build the bigger, better weapon using weird fantasy crap like gliders with flight spells and permanents cast on them, using wands of fireballs under the wings to make fighter craft, and sea serpent powered ships, and it was just ridiculous. But it's where it all started, and all that stuff gets refined over the years, and you end up becoming a better gamer for that. The whimsy that is what fuels the serious fantasy that you have as an adult in your games. Those stories of magic and adventure, they're all spawned out of that that youthful exuberance, that need to go out and slay dragons and do stupid crap like sea serpent powered ships, and and just we used to kill gods back in those days. You used to go through the deities and demigods book, find a god, look at his stats, take him down, take his stuff. I remember one of my friends back in the day, his character was on the quest to marry a particular goddess. Who does that? Anyways, it was. That's what we did back then. So yes, 5th edition is my favorite edition based on its own merits. Where is all my love? Where's the deep, deep, heartfelt adoration for the game? It's back in AD&D. So I guess, in a way, I have a favorite version of the game based on the game itself. But I guess if I had to say what game have I enjoyed the most, what edition have I enjoyed the most, well, that's going to be AD&D. But if you talk to an old fart like me in the games, that's going to be probably most of their experience anyways, because for freaking 20 years, that's all we had. 79 all the way up to, if you count through the 2nd edition days, which a lot of us AD&D guys were just kept rolling through and played the same characters and just roll, you figure that amount of time, 20 years or so, yeah, that's a huge chunk of our gaming. Now, 3rd edition, 4th edition, 5th edition, those came and went real quick. I mean, 3rd edition was around quite a bit before they tried 4th, but 4th fled super fast, and now we've had, 3 years of 5th edition, hoping it's going to last forever. No, it's not, but you know what? It is great, and hopefully the next edition is even better. But, if it's not, I can keep playing 5th edition forever. Will I? Who knows? Because, I could have kept playing AD&D forever, but AD&D has a lot of faults with it. That 4th edition, God, what did I say? 5th edition, out of my mouth. 5th edition has really just taken what those old games had, what was good out of them, put it in. I love the fact that in 5th edition, character classes have subclasses, so we now every player can flavor his character. It's really easy to create new content for homebrew games. New subclasses are really they're really pretty easy to make. Yes, it still takes time, but it's not the same amount of time as building a class from scratch. Having the base fighter and then picking an archetype for that fighter, or having a base wizard and picking a tradition for that wizard, and having to only really write the tradition out to make a variation is great. It reminds me of 2nd edition. One of the best things, in my opinion, of 2nd edition was the kits. And I really can't help but feel that when 5th edition was making subclasses, they were really looking back at kits and seeing how kits allowed everything that 3rd edition tried with prestige classes and, in my opinion, failed. Prestige classes were weird. They were just, it was all part of that insane planned character build that you just had to be thinking about since first level. So 5th edition just brings it all home. I was doing some reading. I guess advantage and disadvantage is something that existed back in the days of before BX and AD&D. There was a rule similar or identical to advantage that just was there, and I never even knew it existed. But it's amazingly easy to just work with that one mechanic on the fly. Okay, I want to bounce off the back of the barkeep, grab the chandelier, swing across the inn, and land on the table over there. Okay. Acrobatics check, right? Yeah, do that at disadvantage. Why? Because it's really complex. You're trying to stick a whole bunch of moves. But you don't want to have to necessarily bog down with, all right, roll to jump off the back of the innkeeper, roll to grab the chandelier, roll to stick your landing. Those 3 rolls are going to bog the crap out of your game. And when you could just as easily say, all right, cool, that's an awesome maneuver, my head's buzzing, I love this as a GM, you're getting into your character, you want to do it, roll it at disadvantage. Simple, easy. If he sticks it, great. If he doesn't, then I as the DM can interpret where in that series of maneuvers it failed for what I feel is best for story. Does the innkeeper catch him trying to climb on his back and throw him off? Does he miss the chandelier and fall flat in the middle of the floor surrounded by the enemies, and we have that tense moment, swashbuckly moment where the maneuver doesn't go well? Or does he maybe hit the table and land on a serving platter and slip off? Who knows? But that is a two-step process. Well, three. The character tells me what he's going to do. I, as the DM, make him do the roll at disadvantage, and then I interpret the results. If he makes it, everybody's having a great time. A heroic move was made. Stories and accolades and cheers at the table, whatever. It's going to be super fun, and it's 5th edition is cool that way. Anyways, this is day 7 of the Dungeons and Dragons 30-day challenge. This is Eli with Elfbait. Again, I'm going to ask, like, share, subscribe, leave the comments below. Tell me what your favorite edition is. If you disagree, argue with me as much as you want. If you agree, cool, but still tell me why you like 5th edition. If there's an edition that you prefer that is not D&D, are you a Pathfinder person? Are you an OSR guy? Whatever the case may be, what edition do you feel got it right and is your favorite and sticks in your heart? The channel is certainly getting bigger. 30-day challenge is definitely helping. I'm going to ask if you want to go ahead and get the word out. I don't have a Patreon or anything like that. I'm not asking for people's ducats yet. It's just me in the garage. It's going to be me in the garage. You're not going to see green screen action or anything on here. I feel there's a place for simple channels like this. Hats off to all the guys just doing it great and, putting a lot of showmanship into it. But I feel that, I have an opportunity to show off the other side, not even the other side, but another face of the game, which is a regular guy in his regular environment, talking about the game he loves. Just, I love this game. I've been doing it forever, and, there's plenty of guys like WebDM and Taking 20 and, Nerdarchy. You've got Dawnforge. These guys are all doing a great job just dressing it up and making it look all professional and slick. But, hey, there are guys out there who are just loving the game and want to share their experience and their wisdom and their knowledge with you. If you come here and you get some information and it helps you in your game, then my work here is not done, but it's validated. I'm working here. I'm here sharing my ideas with you guys out there because I feel that I, after all these years of playing, certainly have some information to share to the new generation that's coming up in droves. So, maybe some guy will stumble on my channel and he'll get the answer that he needed, or he'll see that there's somebody out there in a garage just like him running the game, and hey, that we're all in it together. Every channel you support brings new people to the game. Every channel you share, everybody that you back up out there is just adding to the collective voice. It gets more people out there gaming, gets more people to the tables, more people into the shops. And believe it or not, watching shows like mine, like Taking 20, like Nerdarchy, sharing the love of those channels with other people who are getting into the game helps the game. And every time you do that, you're increasing the chance of having one more cool new face show up with a player's handbook in hand, wanting to get in a game and roll some dice with you. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming in. This is Eli signing off from Elfbait. You guys get out in game.